because you've been so gracious and generous to share your story. You said something that made my ears perk up just now. You said, I've been on this spiritual path since 1976. So my question for you is, not knowing you at all until this minute, is what happened in 1976? Who did you meet?
I met Muktananda, Swami Muktananda, and I met Rabbi Gelberman.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of my spiritual path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there books by Rabbi Gelberman?
Oh, yes. Yes, there are.
What would you start with?
Physician of the Soul. You can get her on Amazon.
Oh. Are your books still available? Is the book that was passing around, are they still available, Hiding to Survive?
You can get them either at Amazon. This one is very special for me because it was signed by my French mom.
Oh, I'd like to get, not that book, but
Yeah,
I'd like
this
to get
one.
that book. Right, I'd like to. So it's still available, it's not out of print. So that's on Amazon.
Yeah,
And then,
these are my,
yeah, these are special, yeah, these are,
Yeah.
but they're still,
You
it's
can
not out
get
of
them
print.
on Amazon. yeah.
Perfect, I want to do
I'm
that.
pretty sure.
Maybe they sell them at Namaste.
I'm sure they have it.
Yeah.
And I know a little bit, I've heard of Muktananda, but if I were going to start with one talk to listen to or one book, what would you tell a neophyte?
Muktananda's book, Spiritual Path, Play of Consciousness.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did I answer everything okay?
The funny thing is, when I came to New York, I met Swami Bua again after a long period. Then I met Swami Bua and Rabbi Gelberman in one place as the beginning of the UN prayer meeting in an interfaith program at the church. So then we are talking, Rabbi Gelberman always make jokes.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. Always make jokes.
Always.
And then he makes circle dance and all this stuff. Then in 2007 we had the peace event and the yoga festival at the Indian Consulate. That was a long discussion. And 10 people sitting and they are bringing all the stories, telling people, asking a lot of questions. It was beautiful. But the last part I want to see him when he was sick, it didn't happen. I was totally away from here and all that stuff. Swami Bua used to tell me stories about Hitler, how he was living with him. A lot of people talk against him. He always say he's a smart guy.
He's a what?
Smart
Guy, intelligent guy. All other stories different, political stories. At the personal level, they had a lot of conversation because Germans used to learn a lot of Vedas. So they give a lot of respect to Indians. Even when we go to Middle East, we get a lot of respect. Even America didn't give us enough respect until last year.
Until last year.
Yeah, it went through a long period. These are politics. Lot of time you won't know the exact story, what happened. Maybe two people don't like, they fight each other, then neighbors come fight, then it will come like a big mess around the world, most of the time. Or two people don't like Saddam Hussein and Bush don't like each other, big mess. This is so we cannot blame all the entire community. They are bad, they are good. The Holocaust is going on millions of years in different ways. Still going on in the Middle East, different places. Even you see that different ways people are killing us. Through the medicines, through the pollutions, they are killing us. We think they are wonderful people. You don't know what people are doing, no idea. Whatever it is. We go. Only thing we can educate ourselves. We have to interact with people, same like-minded people, and share what we feel. That's why we make like these circles. So we born on this earth. We don't need any religion. We don't need. We have culture, wonderful. We need food, water, education. We don't need religion. If you practice, fine. But without love, we cannot live. It's very basic. We can forget things. Thank God, if you remember everything from childhood, we cannot sit here. Lot of troubles in our head. So a lot of them we will forget things. Very hard to forgive. Once you forgive things, so relax. In yoga we say, do the deep breathing, relaxation, meditation. You can go to the deeper mind and take all the old past recordings out. Even homeo have a lot of good medicines to get out all the traumas. But here we won't recognize those medicines. We have only chemical medicine, that's only medicine. But look at, we have 10,000 years old medicine, medical system in India. Even we have Shalvi Shastra, science of surgery. First surgery happened in Ayurveda, not any other system. Yeah? Now people are educated. See the yoga, people are learning a lot of yoga. Yeah? Going in different schools, learning a lot of things. The knowledge for everyone, not only for a certain group of people. All the great masters giving all the philosophies and practical education for everyone, not only for one group. So we had to open up like a global citizen. I was reading Gary David. Have you heard of him?
What's his
Right?
name?
Summit, Gary David.
Gary David?
Yeah, he was a close friend of my uncle. He was a monk. Around 10 years back, I was searching for him. I googled it, I got his name, then I got the phone number from Washington, I called him. A few times I called, then he took the phone. Who are you? I said, I'm this person from this family. Ah! Are you going to get a world citizen passport? He made a passport. He go to all the countries without any visa. Yeah. He made the own non-profit. Then I think 170 countries stamped their entry permit to different people. I was looking all this, but he passed away, I think 2013. Then I left a message with the son. I hope I'll get it back. Yeah. When I called India, some of my uncle's students asked, do you know anything about Gary David? Because he was at the UN, where he was a big buddy. He used to argue with everybody. He sent a well citizen passport to Obama. There's a picture and a he said, I don't need American citizenship. He said, yeah, I don't want it. So, these are the real thinkers. You know? They think about the life. The funny thing, he was the pilot for the bomber during the World War II. He saw the thing, you know, what it's like. So he totally changed when he became the peacemaker, traveled to different countries. When you go to the history, there's a lot to learn. Yeah. I have always listened to everybody's stories. Good to have these stories because that's the way you learn the humility. You learn people's life, how they're handling their life in different ways, through different cultures. It's a motivation to people. We don't have to fight with people. Just enjoy our time. We have a short life, maybe 80, 90, 100. Some people live 123. Even the last day, see small teeth is growing a third time. Black hair is growing. He never used eyeglasses. You can see everything. All the dictionary words, they perfectly spell everything. If you make any mistake, take the dictionary, go to this page. This is very tall. Yeah. 8 languages at a time you talk. You know, how they can live like this. You know, they went through different experience. Their food system is good, mental capacity is different. But still we complain about everything. You know, they never complain. Just smile when we come. People come and sit, you know, Samuel will sit on chair, everybody sit on the floor, and people just complain. They just smile. After that, we don't have any question. Yeah. Now I was really great. He brought the interfaith in New York City very well. Yeah. So I grew up in interfaith family. When I came here and I saw this interfaith, it was so beautiful. Him, Swami Satchidananda, Swami Vishnudevananda, all did wonderful job for the community. Look at now it's growing. Interfaith is growing up all around the world. Yeah. So one day people will recognize we have a one religion, one caste, one nation. Yeah. We believe that.
Sounds like, what's his name, John Lennon.
Right, yeah,
So imagine.
exactly.
Remember, Swami Vivekananda came to Chicago for the world religion. Yeah. After a few years, Narayana Guru put the world religious congress in Kerala. That made a big change in Kerala. We had a really bad caste system. Totally changed. Now India will accept everybody. See how many refugees came to India from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Burma, Bhutan, Nepal, even China, Sri Lanka. They accept everybody. When we had a Jewish group, over that 3,000 years old tribe used to live in it. My dad used to go to a Jewish family. And that's why I heard about the Jewish people. Yeah. Then I end up in the Jewish family, you know.
I gave him a yarmulke.
Wow.
So,
This is bar
It
mitzvah?
was the rabbis.
Oh.
So I made him a rabbi.
right? Honorary rabbi.
I just want to, if it's okay, I just want to ask Judith a question. Over the years, did you ever become friends with any other survivors? Not as giving a speech, like just, you know, living in New York, and did you ever come across another survivor and go, wow, like we have this connection? Yeah. Did you
Oh my
ever?
God, millions of them.
Oh, I don't mean like in a talk. I mean like as a friend.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh, so
definitely.
yeah, that's a real bond. Yeah.
Yeah. We sometimes compare stories. As
Yeah.
a matter of fact, there's one I was reading the New York Post, this was about 7 years ago. I'm reading the New York Post, and in the front it says, a woman goes to France to meet her savior. And so I opened the book, I opened it to her page. It was 2 full pages of photographs, and I looked at one of those photographs, and guess what? They look very familiar to me. She wrote a story about how she lived in Nijbesbierden. Ooh, I lived there too.
Mm-hmm.
How her parents were taken to girls. I was there too. And then Riefzal, I was there too. Also, Auschwitz, and her parents also didn't make it, through the war. So these similarities just were unbelievable.
Almost like a sister.
I called the New York Post and I said, please, could you get me in touch with this woman? And the next thing I know, this woman called me up. Her name is Sylvia. She called me up and we were talking for a while. And then she said to me, we always wondered what happened to Judith.
Wow, I get a chill.
Because my parents asked the older sister, there were 3 sisters, my parents asked the older sister to take care of Judith. And then when I was taken away to Maman, they didn't know what happened to Judith.
Wow.
All these years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So we're still in touch.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
nice. Where did they, in the New York area?
She's gone to Germany a few times, and she lives also in Katona, around that area.
Okay, yeah, that's really something, yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Judith, do you have any siblings yourself? Do you have any siblings?
I was an only
You
child.
were only child?
Yeah.
Now, your aunt and uncle that you stayed with, do you have cousins
Yeah.
from them? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I have another question about.
I don't mind it.
About that, let's see. Remembrance is the secret to redemption. For whatever reason, without going into the story of my life, I ended up on the Buddhist track instead of going to Israel. And so I know a lot about Buddhism. And I'm a storyteller by nature, and yet perhaps I'm misinterpreting a lot of what I've learned in Buddhism and Buddhist practice, but there's a lot of emphasis in many of the traditions in Buddhism, whether it's Vipassana or Zen or Tibetan, it doesn't matter, to watch your, meditate, watch your thoughts, let go of the story, watch your thoughts, let go of the story, don't get stuck in the story, don't dwell. And so my question for you, it's really for me, or for humans, is there seems to be a balance, there must be a balance or a fine line to draw between telling one's story, especially if it's been traumatic or dramatic, writing a memoir even, let's say, even if it's just been interesting, remembering, sharing, in order to be redeemed, or
It's a sort of a how do you call it?
Catharsis?
Yes.
I guess what I'm asking is how, if it's not really advice, but there is, I guess, a tipping point. These are mere words I'm using. There is a tipping point between telling one story and remembering, which leads to catharsis, versus remembering and telling, which leads to heaviness and dwelling and holding on to and being caught.
Does anybody feel heavy around here?
Not at all.
No, not at all. So
I
what
am
I'm
so
asking
grateful
is,
to hear.
do you, not at all. So what I'm asking is, but humans, we, as storytellers, we tell about our lives, we share. You've been able to do it in a wonderful way, which keeps you light. You're sitting here among a bunch of New Yorkers. There, people go to therapy all the time, and people get stuck in their story. I guess I wonder if you have any advice about how to remember, how to share, even with yourself, how to remember that which has been traumatic or dramatic, without and keep the arrow pointed toward redemption, without making it heavy.
It's like you're not that story. You have to look at you have to look at it that way. Just be the witness, so that you don't become that story. Am I making sense?
Of course, and I've certainly heard this before. It's just that there's been so much emphasis in the spiritual circles that I've traveled in on letting go of your story and not telling your story. But it's worked for you. Clearly, you've been on a spiritual path as well, and it's worked for you to tell your story. And it's enlightened. I don't mean that in enlightenment. It's lightened people with whom you share it.
I have about 10 pounds to lose, but the way you said lightened.
These childhood memories are not easy to get out from our mind.
So start traumatic memories?
Childhood.
From
Childhood.
Okay.
It will stay there, like a waves, right? We cannot make a line and make separate the water. It will come and stop, go back, again come and go back. Go on until we leave. Let it go means that will happen.
with the flow of water, just don't get seasick.
So even if she is forgive, this memory will come. She is not going to forget all of this stuff until her sense is off. She'll come and go, but she will learn how to overcome. Each time she will get out.
If I may add, it's all about self-inquiry. You really identifying the body or the soul. Once you start really identifying the soul, then who is really asking these questions? So then the storytelling or attachment to the story doesn't matter. You just enjoy the moment, let it go, forgive, acceptance, all that comes along. So really identifying the Buddhist tradition or whatever tradition appeals to you, to make that inquiry to find out, just like Buddha went through all these atrocities, deepest penance, but finally, it's all the mind, monkey mind. Mind is our friend, it can be our enemy, depending on how we look at it. Self-pity party, or to accept, acknowledge, rejoice. God has gifted us this life, we're breathing, we're functioning, we're able to listen, we're able to enjoy, cherish the moment. Whatever experience happened, happened. I think that's all in the past. The only thing we have control is this very moment to create the destiny for the future. So it's identifying who we really are. And then the journey always goes from self to self. You go through all the spiritual path, all the tracks, whether it's meditation, yoga, service, self-inquiry, any methodology you go through, it comes back to finally coming to terms with who is really controlling, who is really acting this thing. So then that life energy continues one life to the next. The same God created each one of those life forces, whether it's Hitler, whether it's the Nazi, or the Jewish people. In this cycle, we are dancing to the tune of the God, highest God, whichever way you define with a name or without. I don't know any whether it helps or not. I'm just sharing.
Somebody want to control entire world means that person is a sick person.
Somebody who started.
Want to control the world means that person is a sick person. So that person cannot control himself. He is putting his own experience and blaming somebody and put trouble on other people. So we have to look at that. He had a problem. That's why he created all the problems. I'm talking about Hitler. But we didn't take it right way to solve it. Because suddenly two groups came in the world, aggravated the situation. Look at a lot of problems in the Middle East. I saw some pictures. They're hanging 4 people, Shiites, and putting tires and oil and put the fire and baking them. Yesterday's picture I am seeing. Why we have you and all the big military, democratic countries are just sitting and watching all this stuff. Just wait, fight, then we'll get the business. That's the way life is going. We didn't see any humanity around the world. Why? We'll make the business out of it. So where this world is going, we don't know. We cannot bring our voice and they'll arrest us. I didn't hear any word from our UN Secretary. All are waiting. Nothing. They're enjoying their days. But when you hear all the stories, rape stories, all the stories, horrible stories happening in the Syria and all this. My cousin is living in Syria. She married to a Syrian. They have 2 children. We are not hearing from them at all. We don't know they're dead or alive. No idea. So, and these people have a lot of money now. They have the oil factories and all this stuff. Now they made their own currency. They are going to control all over the place. So how to stop this is very hard. spreading until our leaders stopping all the politics and take care of the people. Let us see.
So one last point is that to develop love, the attitude of gratitude for all the blessings we have, that's the beginning. With that, then we offer gratitude to the Creator, or whoever we worship, adore. And through that, then we accept this all God's creation. So that then self-love, self-acceptance and love happens. Then you can be sending out the love, and the healing happens, and everyone around you will be made whole.
Thank you.
Make a 5 minutes meditation. Silent meditation.